power of myth and storytelling? Does it bring you more fully into your own truth or keep you veiled in illusions? Join me for today's show on Truths and Illusions, and let's discover for you. Hi, I'm Tambra Harck, and this is Truths and Illusions on Tambra TV. I'm thrilled to have you join me today for a topic that really excites me, and I hope that together we can tease apart some of the ways these words are commonly used and perhaps misused that can water down their meaning and take away the power that they might give you or use their power against your life. So mythology, it's a big word, right? It means that there are stories that are told throughout time, throughout cultures all around the planet for as long back as stories could be told. And these are the stories that show the patterns of our lives. You can read a myth or a poem or a story from 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, and feel or sense or hear in a very subtle way your own life being reflected in these stories. That's the gift mythology can be to us. It's deeply informing and brings us closer to our own wisdom. I find it powerful. Although I find that I get a little perturbed by this phrase that gets thrown around in such a wrong way. And that's using the word myth as a way to mean lie. Haven't you seen it? I even am guilty of this. I wrote an article about 20 years ago called The 10 Myths of Marketing. When we use that phrase myth as a way to suggest that it's a lie or a falsehood, we're actually taking this word that has such deep connection to our own humanity and turning that into meaning lie. So I wonder if you'll join me in reframing the way that we use the word to mean lie and simply add the word false. What if we call them false myths instead of misusing them? So the other thing I want to talk to you about today is stories and storytelling. Storytelling is the way that we can bring those mythologies into our own experience and telling your own story, the story that shows your development or your course of learning or your transformation or your discoveries. Those are powerful, and being heard in the experience of telling your story, unbelievable. Healing can happen from that, as I'm sure you've experienced and witnessed. And yet, there's a way we tell stories, and hey, you know, I'm not free from having done this myself. There's a way we tell stories that also stop the energy that we want to bring forward. We stop our potential. We stop our desires by telling stories in such a way that limit us, that perpetuate our fears, that perpetuate our feelings of being a victim or angry or resentful. You know all those stories, right? When you focus on what story brings all of me into more of my life, bits and pieces of every story you've told will probably still be there. But I imagine that there'll also be more wisdom, more freedom, and more an experience of the presence of what your stories bring you into. One of the things I love about mythology and storytelling is there really isn't an end. You know, we have this idea that stories, a good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I've heard that so many times. A good speech has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A good movie has, you get the point. But a really powerful story and a really compelling, wisdom-bringing mythology doesn't actually end. It brings the energy to its next expression. And that's what I imagine is possible for us as we are in this time of great change and issuing into greater awakening and into our possibility as humanity. So I'm curious, what's your experience of mythology, myths, false myths, storytelling, and stories. I'd love to hear from you. The whole point of doing these shows is to help facilitate connections for consciousness. So I hope that you'll join me in a conscious conversation. You can comment here, wherever you are, on Facebook or YouTube or on my website. And I'd love to hear from you about your insights here. And if there's anything you'd like me to be talking about on Truths and Illusions, share that too. If you like this video, it really helps us out if you click like on wherever you're seeing this. And if you are on YouTube and you like to do that sort of thing, will you subscribe? It'll help us reach more people around the world with this message that is uplifting, inspiring, insightful, and maybe a little nudge to your soul. Until next time, my friend, be well.